Hey guys, Putzman945 here, coming back to you with the last video for tonight. I noticed in the last video I didn't know how I would record. This will be my last video because I found a really nice combination list idea that would be fun to finish off the night, shall we say. So this is going to be my top 10 favorite Jedi and Sith. Now, I made these two lists a long time ago, and when I first came up with this combination list idea, this was the idea I was originally thinking of when I was doing this list. And most of these Sith Lords will be drawn from Legends. So if you don't know them, I highly encourage you, if you're a Star Wars Legends fan of some extent, or like the Sith in any way, or even a Jedi, because a lot of these Jedi, or some of them are from Legends. Most of them are canon, most of the Sith are from Legends, but if you're curious about any of these names, and I highly encourage you to look them up in the Star Wars Wikipedia. Sorry about that, just takes a on my phone real quick. Okay, so starting with Sith. Yeah, Sith. At number 10 is Darth Plagueis. Now, Darth Plagueis, I think, is a really interesting Sith Lord, not because of the midichlorians thing, but not mainly because of that. I think he was really interesting because of the way that he tried to bend the rule of two. Now, by that, I don't mean the whole where Sidious had an apprentice and he just allowed it type thing. I don't mean any of that stuff. I mean that instead of believing that Sidious would one day defeat him, and this actually kind of ties in with him wanting to live forever, is he wanted him and Sidious to be the only two Sith remaining. And like no other Sith ever, basically. And I really thought that was an interesting outlook on the Sith, which really tied in with his beliefs, I feel like, which is honestly why he's on this list. And believe me, this list was really hard to make. Like, extremely hard to make, because I like a lot of different Sith Lords. They're all really cool in their own ways. And number 9 is Karnas Muur. Now, this is definitely one I encourage people to look up. This is probably the one that I encourage the most, because of the ancient Sith Lords, he is definitely the one in Legends that lived the longest, by far. So Karnas Muur was one of the original Dark Lords who succeeded the Jedi Order in the First Great Schism with Ajunta Pall, Swords of Sin, and Zozan, and various other fallen Jedi. The really interesting thing about this Sith Lord is that he, Swords of Sin made him this amulet called the Muur Talisman, which created the Rakghoul Plague, interestingly enough. And I'm not going to spoil and not wait much without people reading, but there's just so much history tied to this Sith Lord that makes him really, really interesting to read about. And number 8 is Exar Kun. Now, Exar Kun is mainly interesting because he was the inventor of the double-bladed lightsaber. So, if you ever wonder where that came from, he came up with the design. and it was really, really creative for the time anyway, until like techniques against it were invented. But for the time, it was a very, very creative form of fighting, and also he was honestly such a badass Sith Lord. Like between the talismans that he had, the Sith temples, and Yavin Fort, and especially the Masasi rituals, he is just a really, really cool Sith Lord. Now, and number 7 is Darth Anaду for two main reasons. One, he is the first Sith to have known to have used the Darth title, and two, he mastered the technique of essence transfer, which is basically a technique that allows you, when you're dying, to attempt to transfer your soul to another body. And if you can defeat the other person's soul, then you take over the body. If not, then you're basically cast in the shadowy hell forever. That's the best way I can describe it. Anyway, and number 6 is Tulok Horde. Now, the main reason he's on this list is because he is quite possibly the greatest combatant in Sith or Jedi history. And his reading proves that. He did so many crazy feats, like combatant-wise, while he was in control of the Sith Empire, and I just love reading about that stuff. And I also love Sith Lords that made a change to the way the Sith worked, which is why number 5 is going to be Darth Bane, because he invented the rule of 2, which is possibly one of the most significant achievements a Sith Lord has ever completed in Legends. So I really have to applaud him for that fact. But also, Darth Bane did a lot of other really cool stuff, because he found like the holocrons to Belia Darzu, Darth Revan, Darth Andu, and Frida Nad, who are like 4 really big ancient Sith Lords they found the holocrons to, which is really, really cool. At number 4, and this is where the lists start getting excruciatingly difficult to make, Naga Sato. Naga Sato is possibly the most talented both deceptionist of the Sith Empire and like alchemist, because he was so good at Sith alchemy that it completely overlooks his failures in the Great Hyperspace War, which you won't talk about here because I'll be discrediting him. But at number 3 is Ajun Paul. I really love Ajun Paul just because of that story of the original Jedi. And especially if you played Knights of the Old Republic, then you will know that there's this side quest where you can redeem Ajun Paul, and it's one of the coolest side quests in the whole game. That only happens while you're in his tomb. So that it's just really cool. Also, there's just something about him being such an OG Sith Lord that is very satisfying to me, and that's why he's one of my favorites. We also want to talk about OG Sith leaders that were complete legends. We gotta go with Marco Ragnos. For one, he wielded a Sith sword instead of a lightsaber, which is cool as crap. But also, the way that he commanded, and also the fact that his ghost showed up while Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma were ruling, and the fact he crowned Exar Kun Dark Lord of the Sith is even cooler. There's just so many cool things about this Sith Lord. And number 1, though, is Darth Revan. And spoilers, he's also my favorite Jedi. And no, that's not cheating, because they're technically 2 different people, but I love Revan so much because his story is so absolutely profound, especially when you consider the events that transpire in the Old Republic with Revan's character. And honestly, just his turn to the dark side, and then the story of his redemption in KOTOR, and then it includes that reveal, which is the best in video game history, which you would know if you saw my top 15 favorite video games video that I made quite a while ago now, but just in conclusion, he is such a well-made and well-written character between all the games that he's in. And there's just so much symbolism that represents Revan that it's insane. Moving to my top 10 favorite Jedi. At number 10, we have Nomi Sunrider. Now, Nomi Sunrider was just a Jedi that did a lot of really, really cool things, because in Legends, her story of how many masters she has is just really inspiring to read, and definitely the Jedi that I would encourage looking up the most. And number 9 is Satele Shan. So obviously a big plus in her direction, carrying on the Shan name, for one. But also, I feel like the thing with the events that transpired in the Old Republic, in the Jedi Knight story and the Knights of the Fallen Empire, and that's the term Throne sagas, it just makes Satele Shan a very profound character that I really like. At number 8 is Kanan Jarrus. Now, Kanan Jarrus receives possibly some of the biggest character development of any Jedi within a TV show, because he goes from being this recluse to being proud of Ezra and training him, to ultimately kind of becoming a Jedi that almost loses his way because of losing his eyes. But he learns through the Bendu to help using the Force, which, by the way, the Bendu is absolutely another one of my favorite characters from Rebels, because I didn't mention it in my video ranking all the Star Wars movies and TV shows. The Bendu is absolutely one of my favorite characters as well. But the Bendu helps Kanan find his Force abilities back, and then his sacrifice is just incredibly profound to all the characters, and also with that he relates to the Loth Wolves as well, and just his whole character receives so much development over the series that he might be the most developed character in the series, which I love. And number 7 is Bastila Shan. Now, Bastila Shan did the whole redemptive thing, and obviously she has battle meditation, which also makes her a really cool Jedi. And also she's really well written in the actual story and the Legends books. And number 6 is Jolee Bindo. Now, I love Jolee because if you go on my blog, and if you did read my review of Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, then Jolee, you would know, is my favorite character. Just absolutely my favorite character. I think he has the best dialogue in the game, and like combat-wise, is the best character in the game, but I'm not going to get into that. If you want to know more about that, then read my review on my website, which I have now started linking in the description instead of just the about section of my channel. It's now linked in the description of all my videos. So if you want to go check that out, then you can. But anyway, I also really like Jolie just because of his stance. Like, I've always thought that Grey Jedi were so fascinating, and just it's why I play it's why, like, when I made my first character in D&D recently, I chose the alignment True Neutral, because that alignment between Grey Jedi and neutrality has always interested me to no end. And I know maybe people assume that, who know me, people assume that, like, I like the Sith. Because I like the Sith, I would choose evil for that kind of thing. But in truth, like, I'm not really a good person. I love the neutral play style. I think it's such an interesting way to play a game, and I love that it's an alignment available in D&D and D&D related games. At number 5 is Anakin Skywalker. I know this is kind of a archetypical pick here, but I really just do admire, not the way that Hayden Christensen portrayed it, but, just the way that his character is, like, including all aspects of him as Jedi, not factoring in performances in any way. His character development is really, really good, because he falls to the dark side, then gets redeemed by the light again. And you just see a lot of really great things happen to his character. Disregarding performances, because Hayden Christensen freaking sucks. And number 4 is Ahsoka Tano. Now, I don't know if I talked about this when I mentioned Clone Wars and ranking every Star Wars movie and TV show, but I don't know if I mentioned that. If I did, I did. If I'll talk about it again here. If I didn't, I'll just talk about it right now. I think Ahsoka's character is extremely well designed, just because of the way that it managed to develop it from this youngling to this Padawan who gets betrayed by the Order because of something she didn't do, or blamed by the Order, not betrayed. And then she loses her faith in the Jedi and often becomes kind of this Grey Jedi type thing, even with white lightsabers. And you hear that line in Rebels, she's like, "I am no Jedi." And there's just so many good things that happen with this character. And number 3 is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have always loved Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think he is like the optimal Jedi, basically, because he follows all the code to its very standard. And that's where I think Duchess Satine in the Clone Wars really makes Obi-Wan have a lot of character depth, because she is something that Obi-Wan cares about, which really provides a lot of depth to his character. And just overall, I really like his character. And number 2 is Yoda. I don't need to explain why I love Yoda. I've gone over it many, many times. Yeah. And number 1, as I mentioned before, it's Revan. Just, I am always so incredibly invested in, like, his seduction to the dark side and his rebellion in the Mandalorian Wars, and how he finds a mask, and his journey to recover his memories back, and defeating the Emperor eventually, and then the whole stuff of the Old Republic, and his redemption too. It makes him such such a deep character that makes it so much fun to play and read about every time. So that was my top 10 favorite Jedi and Sith. I hope you enjoyed that list. I don't know if there are going to be any more combination type videos like that, depending if I can find any more to make like this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed and have a good night.